action.
Hello, boys and girls. This is the course of Environmental Science, which is meant for BTech third year and fifth semester. The code for this particular subject is AMC 501. As you know, this is the mandatory course of BTech third year, and I am G. Chakraborty from Department of Chemistry, welcoming you to this course of Environmental Science.
Now, as we people have come across different lectures, we have seen that what water is and what are the quality and what are the parameters of water, right? Now, this is basically the fourth lecture of this particular module, right? That means this is the 17th lecture as a whole, and it is the fourth lecture of the module, that is part 4 of the module water and its pollution, right? Now, if we come across that what water is and what water pollution is, we'll be seeing that water is life. Okay, we need water for each and every work that we do. We need water for drinking, we need water for bathing, we need water for washing, right? Many people might be thinking that we people have studied this in class 3 and 4, then why we are discussing it again? Yes, that's true. You and I both have studied this in class 3 and 4, but at that time we have studied not only about this washing, drinking and bathing and all, we have also studied at that time about what is water pollution, right? And the definition was like this: pollution of water is water pollution. Okay, now if you write this definition now, then you have to go back to class 4 and take admission there. So this definition is not worthy here, right? So what we need to do, we need to come up with some improved definitions, we need to come up with some improved theories, some improved logic regarding this particular fact, which is called water pollution. Okay, now as we know that without proper knowledge of water, we will never be able to know that what water pollution is and how we should deal with this particular thing, which is called water pollution. Okay, now dealing with water pollution requires many things. We need to know about the quality of water, we need to study the water, we need to know what is the DO of that particular water, we need to know what is the BOD of the sample of water, we need to know what is the COD of sample of water. So there are multiple things that we need to know that we don't know, right? Now, don't be worried. See, basically what is the main thing is that we should have proper knowledge about the water, right? And that can be done very easily. Okay, so we will do that. Also, one important thing is there, and that important thing is nothing but treatment of water. Whenever we are confirmed that yes, whatever water we are having is not good, right? The water we are having is not good and it requires certain functions, right? Now that function is nothing but treatment of water. Without treatment of water, we cannot use water, right? So treatment of water is necessary. Now this particular treatment of water can be done by several methods, okay? But we don't know what the methods are. So in this lecture, we are going to know what the methods are, okay? So stay tuned in this particular lecture. This is nothing but the part 4 of the module water and its pollution, and the lecture highlights are right in front of you, okay? As you people see, the lecture highlights contains coagulation of water, flocculation of water, sedimentation of water, filtration of water, and finally disinfection of water, right? Now this particular topics, the name themselves implies that these are nothing but making the quality of water good. That means treatment of water sample. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to see all these things. So stay tuned and let us go to the first point. The first point is like this, that most of the modern water care waste treatment plants, right, use primary mechanical, that is secondary biological and tertiary filtration and wavelength radiation methods to treat domestic and industrial water and stormwater, right? So as you know that in this particular lecture, what we are doing treatment of water. We are studying about treatment of water. So first we need to know how many methods of treatment of water are available. right? There is the primary knowledge that we need. So as you know that here in this particular statement, this primary knowledge has been provided to us, and it is saying that the most modern water care wastewater treatment plants, right? One such plant is located in Buddha Park in Kalyani, right? Very near to our college. Okay. The modern wastewater treatment plants, what they are doing, they are using multiple techniques to purify water. Now what these techniques are? This particular techniques are nothing but primary, secondary and tertiary techniques, right? Now these techniques will contain, the primary technique is basically mechanical, secondary technique is biological, tertiary technique is filtration, and ultraviolet technique is nothing but radiation. Okay, and these are used to treat the domestic and industrial wastewater as well as storm waters, right? Now wastewater, what they generally contain? They contain organic materials, grease and oil, inorganic materials, nutrients, metals, chemicals, microorganisms, etc. Okay, multiple things can be resulting in water quality deterioration, and this includes grease, organic materials, inorganic materials, metals, chemicals, as well as microorganisms. Okay, now before the water treatment has been done, there must be a pre-treatment. Now what this pre-treatment is? Pre-treatment includes screening and grit removal and is carried out at the start of the treatment process, right? Just like before doing any work, we need a preparation, right? So here, whenever we are dealing with treatment of water, we need pre-treatment. Okay. Now this pre-treatment, nothing but screening and grit removal process. Okay, right? Now this pre-treatment is designed to remove solid objects along with grease and oil which impede efficient wastewater treatment. See, if something is dissolved in water, we cannot treat that water directly. It needs chemical treatment or physical treatment. But if we can see that something is suspended in water, something is floating on water, a solid substance is floating on water, oil is floating on water, grease is floating on water, then easily we can do that by simply removing those objects, right? That particular thing can be done. It is quite easy. Okay, so that thing is done, and which this is nothing but pre-treatment. Okay, right? Next, what we are having? We are having screening. Okay, let us see what screening is. Now screening is the first line of treatment at the entrance of the wastewater treatment plant, where 6 new fine screens arranged in parallel channels intercept solid material in the effluent wastewater. Screening is nothing but a separation of solid materials, process of separation of solid materials from the water. Okay, how we are going to do that? Whenever we are entering a wastewater treatment plant, okay, if you have been to a wastewater, I think you will go for industrial visit and you will see that what happens inside a wastewater treatment plant. If you move inside the plant, you will see that there are 6 fine screens which are present, and they are arranged in parallel way, and they will actually intercept, they will prevent the entry of any solid material in the wastewater, right? Okay, this is screening. After that, we have coagulation and flocculation. What does it mean? The screened water might contain suspended particles including bacteria which are too small to be screened and to settle in a reasonable time period, and if the particles are colloidal dimensions, they will never settle down, right? Because colloids particles carry same charge and repel each other, right? Coagulant are some chemicals which combine those particles, neutralize the charges, and can come together in bigger size and settle down. This is a very important concept. See, what happens? Basically, screening is for those objects which we can see, right? Now, if there are very much smaller objects are used that we cannot see, right, then the simple screening process will not work. Also, there are bacteria which cannot be screened, right? Now, not only bacteria are there. There are several colloidal particles which never settle down, right? Colloidal particles, actually, if you remember your class 12 chemistry book, right, there was a chapter called surface chemistry, okay, where it was clearly explained that colloidal particles will never settle down. Why? There is a reason why they will not settle down. What is the reason? You remember? The reason is Brownian motion, right? Due to Brownian motion, a zigzag movement always occurs inside the colloidal particles. So they never settle down, they are always in motion. Now if they are not settling down, how they can be separated? This is very important thing. So what we need to do, we need to add some chemicals, right? Those chemicals actually results in coagulation and flocculation. Okay, now those chemicals will make them coagulate, make them heavier, and they will settle down, right? Normal coagulation that is used is alum, that is aluminum sulfate. Okay, some other electrolytes like ferric chloride or ferric sulfate can also be added along with alum, right? So we can use alum for this particular purpose called coagulation or flocculation. Okay, let us go to the next slide, and the next slide contains sedimentation. Now what this sedimentation is, after flocculation the wastewater is allowed to flow through a sedimentation basin or clarifier, right? Sedimentation basin is a concrete tank and is circular or rectangular in shape. It can hold water for a longer time without damage. Longer time gives better efficiency. See, what is the meaning of the word sedimentation? It means settle down, right? Now settling down requires a large amount of time, maybe 1 week, maybe 1 month, maybe more than that. Okay. Now what is happening? First the pre-treatment is done, then coagulation is done. Now after coagulation has been done, right? After the coagulant chemicals are added for coagulation, the total water will move for sedimentation. Now there it is left for some days, it is allowed to stand for some days so that the particles present or the things present inside water are sedimented properly. Okay, for that basically it is moved to a concrete tank which may be circular, maybe rectangular, maybe of some other shape, right? We are not considering the shape here. And what will happen, just sedimentation will be done there, and if you keep the water for longer time, effect is definitely good because sedimentation requires time. Okay, now filtration. The filtration unit is a sand filter. It contains multiple layers of graded gravel. The gravels are the uppermost layer and bigger in size, and those are the lowest layer are finer. The pore openings between the sand grains are smaller in size compared to that of flow particles, so that they cannot pass out, allowing water to be filtered. Now this is one of the filtration processes that are used from the primitive era, right? Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, when the explorers have, the geologists have actually dig the places of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, it has been found that they also used to have this type of filtration units where sand and gravels were used for filtration. Okay, so basically in the filtration level, sand filters are used, and sand filters are nothing but combinations of sand and gravel from where the water is allowed to pass through, and the pores are very small, so whenever water is passing, all the dirt and the particles that are creating problem, they will stuck off, right? And we'll get fresh water. Okay, so this is nothing but filtration of the water sample. Okay, let us move to the next slide. After filtration we have disinfection, because it is very important to disinfect the water. See, filtration you have done, sedimentation you have done, everything you have done, but if there are any toxic substances that are harmful to your health, then it definitely requires disinfection. Without disinfection, the pathogens present in water will not be killed, and drinking that water will create problem. Okay, so to remove the pathogenic substances, most common chemicals that are used are either chlorine or sodium hypochlorite. Now you know that chlorine and sodium hypochlorite are one of the and calcium hypochlorite also. These three names are very much common to us right now, because these are the articles which are, these are the chemicals, are not articles, these are the chemicals which are killing coronavirus, because they can kill any virus, any pathogen, any bacteria. Okay, so basically two things can kill coronavirus, one is alcohol, another is calcium, sodium hypochlorite. Okay, so this hypochlorite solution is very important for disinfection, right? And bleaching powder is also used. It is also like bleaching powder is calcium oxychloride. It is basically calcium hypochlorite, right? And sodium hypochlorite is another chemical which is used for this particular purpose. Okay, why, how it makes this disinfection process? See, chlorine reacts with water, liberates nascent oxygen, destroys enzymatic process in the pathogen cell, and thus kills them. Now this is very interesting to know. See, chlorine, whenever we are treating with bleaching powder or hypochlorite solution, what happens basically? Chlorine reacts with water and it releases nascent oxygen, means highly active single oxygen molecule. Again, I am saying highly active single oxygen molecule, are given out by chlorine. Now this particular single oxygen, what they do, they oxidize the enzymatic processes. They oxidize the cells of the pathogen. Okay, they oxidize the enzymes that are present inside the pathogen, and once the enzymes are oxidized, what will happen? The pathogen will die. Now pathogen is die, we become happy because we can use that water. Okay, so the reaction is like this: chlorine plus H2O becomes HOCl plus H plus Cl minus. Okay, now HOCl will further dissociate to form HCl and O, right? Now this particular O is nothing but the nascent oxygen. Okay, this particular O is the nascent oxygen. Now once this nascent oxygen is used, easily the pathogens will be killed. Okay, now chlorine is very effective against bacteria, but negligibly effective against virus and protozoa. Also it creates toxic THM, example chloroform, right? Trochloromethane. Okay, it should be trichloromethane, not tro. This is trichloromethane. Trichloromethane is nothing but chloroform. Okay, but other options using ozone for disinfection is costly one. Now this is also very effective, though it is written that it is negligible effective against viruses. We are using sodium hypochlorite for killing coronavirus for disinfection purpose. I don't know whether we are wrong or whatever the prediction is wrong. Basically, see, sanitization to a large extent it requires hypochlorite, but the best option is alcohol. Alcohol is the best sanitizer available, right? For sanitization, if alcohol can be used, 75% isopropyl alcohol or 80% of ethanol if it is used, then that is the best option available, right? Now see, chlorine is very much effective against bacteria. It will kill bacteria to a large extent. It is less effective for protozoa and virus, and the problem is that it creates chloroform. Now chloroform is toxic definitely, and it creates some unusual problems. You people know it from your very childhood, that chloroforms, that if you smell chloroform, then what will happen? Will be unconscious and all, right? Okay, so chloroform is not good for us, but other techniques are there. Ozone can be used and UV radiations can be used, but those techniques are too much confined and they require multiple gadgets. Ultimately what will happen, the disinfection process will be very much costly, hence less affordable, right? Okay, that's why we use this hypochlorite option. Now this is the full and final slide of this particular lecture, and here we can see the total system that we people have studied. Okay, so here we'll go one by one to every step to see what happens, how it happens, and how basically we get the water, right? So it is quite what I can say, complicated. Okay, so surface water intake, from here the water is coming. Okay, you can see the arrow right here. Then what happens? First coagulation occurs. First water is subjected to coagulation. Okay, once the coagulation is done, water is subjected to flocculation. Okay, after the flocculation is over, it will subject to sedimentation. Now it is not new to us, because we people have already done this particular thing in this lecture only, right? So coagulation, then flocculation, then sedimentation, then sand GSE filtration, means nothing but sand and gravel filtration. Okay, after that we have fine filtration. So these 5 steps are basically those that we have studied. Here one step is added. After flocculation you can use ultrafiltration method, which will be followed by fine filtration. So ultrafiltration will remove many suspended particles that are present. Now what is ultrafiltration? Again I'll say, let us move to our chapter 5 of class 12, surface chemistry. So ultrafiltration is the technique of filtering a liquid using ultrafilter papers, right? Now what is ultrafilter paper? An ultrafilter paper is basically prepared by dipping a normal filter paper into colloidal solution, okay, and then addition of acetaldehyde to harden the paper, right? Okay, this is what ultrafilter paper is, and the process is called ultrafiltration. Okay, now after this whole process is done, the water will be subjected to RO. Now what is RO? Know it very well. RO is nothing but reverse osmosis. That also we people have studied in class 12 chemistry, okay? And it will suffer from ion exchange mechanism followed by three mechanisms, right? One is the pH neutralization, another is the mixed bed, another is the electrodialysis. Now as per the need, the water is treated, okay? There are multiple water treatment techniques, right? Okay. Now after pH neutralization, whatever water you are getting, the TDS will be around 50 gram per liter, okay? 50 milligram per liter, sorry. TDS is nothing but total dissolved solid. It will be 50 milligram per liter, okay? After you do mixed bed treatment, the water which we will get will have conductivity this, and after electrodialysis, you will get ultra pure water, okay? Having resistivity of 10 to 18 ohm, right? Means if resistivity is this, if pure water is resistant to electricity, that people know that pure water is not a good conductor of electricity, right? Okay. Now here after RO, if you do remineralization followed by disinfection, then what you will get? You will get drinking water. Okay, after RO, if you do that, then you will get drinking water. Okay. Now if you are using water that is not for drinking, if your purpose is different, if your purpose is irrigation, just giving the water to the fields, right, then what we need to do after ultrafiltration, the next steps are not to be followed. Directly the water can be given to the fields, okay? Also after fine filtration, it may be given for irrigation, right? And after sedimentation, if we want, we can do sludge treatment to do some other application of the water, okay? So basically there are multiple steps that we can see. Conditioning step is there, demineralization stepping is there, clarification stepping is there, waste disposal is there, and polishing steps are also present here. So this particular diagram, right, this implies a lot. This tells us a large number of things about the treatment of water, okay? This is very important for all of us, right? Okay, so this was all about the treatment of water that we people have seen, right? In the next topic, we people will come across with some different things, right? Now this particular lecture was very interesting. You go through it 2 times 3 times so that you know about the techniques briefly, that how water is filtered, okay? Right? So always use filtered water and always try to save water, okay? Also take care and have a great life, right? Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.